there are so many leaps of faith that you take after you let go of the script for the first time. First one is sending the script to somebody. But one I really felt in this and loved making, having the ability to do a feature that you don't have in a short, to build relationships with actors, to build a trust. With Paul, before he arrived, I kind of had to take that leap of faith without having ever met him in person, and it was scary. But I realized if I wanted, like I had to take that leap of faith. I had to choose to trust him, and he chose to trust me. And I shared a lot with him and kind of handed him the character. I was like, listen, this is what I know about the character. This is where he comes from. This is everything. And then I passed him to Paul and I said, you know, but he's yours now, you know. And Paul, so thoughtful and so prepared, definitely read the script more than I ever had in full. And when we had laid this foundation for communication, you know, where we could both ask each other questions, and he really did trust me. Like there was a scene that I know he was really excited about performing, which is where they're talking about what she might do in the future, whether it's boys or drugs or whatever it is. And the moment that I told him we were going to shoot that and they were going to be 50 feet away from the camera on like a floating piece of plastic on the sea, and he's like, huh, like not how I imagined performing this scene that like I really love. But he trusted me, you know, and I don't know, I think that like creating an environment where actors feel comfortable rewriting a little bit toward them. Like if dialogue doesn't sound natural and you're working through it before you shoot, I just change it, you know? And I'm not, which, you know, is a decision that I always regret in the edit, but I'm very loose with dialogue being word perfect. As long as it sounds natural, everything is about whether it sounds natural. Sometimes it makes it difficult to cut, but I think overall it works. And you know, the performances are very discreet. Very little in the film is improvised or deviates in a significant way, but lots deviates in just finding natural cadences of speech. And with Frankie, she never had a script. That was on the advice of my casting director, who's amazing and who works a lot with young people and non-professionals, and it was just about keeping her as present as possible. She didn't really know the story, she didn't know anything that was happening with Paul in the film. Even the scene where he spits on the mirror and she's in the room, she never knew that he was doing that. And it was hard for him because he'd have to come off that set and she'd be bouncing around wanting to mess around, and he had to flip between that kind of state he was on screen and then in interacting with Frankie on set. But I think it paid off in just keeping her performance as true as possible.
I never heard that before. And how much do you feel like Paul was a partner in the kind of working with Frankie?
Oh, massively, like hugely. I mean, really responsible for directing her performance insofar as he's her partner, you know, in the scene. And she became a pro quite quickly. That there was one scene we were shooting on a rooftop, like a rooftop cafe, and she knew when the camera wasn't on her. Paul had to come up to me and say, listen, yeah, Frankie's just like chilling and looking the other way when I'm performing. Frankie, you could be there for Paul the way that he's there for you. Some very big actors who would do that too.
We've got one here, a question for both Charlotte and Sophie. Amidst the high-pressure chaos of a film set, how do you carve out adequate time to focus on the emotion of the performances? Is it about laying the groundwork in rehearsals? Interesting. Do you rehearse very much?
No, not too much. A little bit.